Hey y'all, thank you for tuning in. This is PowerBook 2 Ghost. The new series picks right up from where we left off with the assassination of Ghost. Thankfully, Courtney Kemp and the writing team decided no time jump was needed. And it's not. We really need to pick up right where we left off. We have Tasha St. Patrick, maiden name Green, in custody. Tariq has now been accepted into college, courtesy of Spencer, the hustler. Oh, he's a swindler. He's a swindler with money. Actually, shouldn't that be what all swindlers are? Anyway, any people with money are generally, their background isn't they got the money really clean. I can tell you for a fact that I'm really excited to see how they handle the authenticity of Tariq being a freshman, even though he got on our nerves these last 2 seasons. Ooh, that child. Not even my child, not your child, but the character tried us all. He just does too much. At any rate, the takeaway from this episode, if I can give you any piece of advice, is from where I sit. Trust your lawyers, or find a lawyer you can trust where you can be fully honest with that person, give full disclosure. Because look, let me tell you this. If nobody else, the lawyer needs the truth so they can be able to, and you know what? I know you're going to hear it brought up in this show. Well, if I knew the whole, I guess Tasha feels such a way that if she told people Tariq shot the daddy, no, you don't say that in open court. You give it to your lawyer so they could be able to work on this. So we open up with Tamika representing Tasha. Tasha's in lockup. She's leaving Manhattan Federal Penitentiary Correctional Center and coming over to the courthouse for an appearance. Y'all, they had her in those orange jumpsuits and the cornrows. I would have worked day and night. My client needs clothing. My client needs, tending to. You don't make appearances in court in jumpsuits. It removes your humanity. People just don't care as much when you're wearing that jumpsuit. I'm going to tell you now. Number 2, I was happy to see Tamika as her representation. It made sense. She knew James St. Patrick for what it was and what he was being investigated with. I also love the angle that they're pulling here, which is the DNC, Democratic National Party, do not want nor need any of James St. Patrick underbelly criminal activity coming to the forefront. Why? Because he was running for lieutenant governor and they vouched. Basically, they did a background check and everything came up roses. So if you didn't vet him properly, what does that say about you? And if you did vet him and you still put him out there on the ticket, what does that really say about you? So, work with me here as we're covering multiple pieces. I'm glad they opened with the grandmother. Miss Debbie Morgan is her real name, and she is back. Honey, I will only ever see her for, ay diablo, Ms. Baptiste with Arsenal from Ease Bayou. If you've not checked out Ease Bayou, it is worth it. It is definitely worth it. How everyone is portrayed, the color tones of every black person in the family. It's true accurate representation, especially when you get into the lower parts of Louisiana and swampland all the way around. But anywho, because I always felt like they stuck her to the side, whereas in episode 1, season 1, she was right in the midst of it, questioning why James spoke such a good Spanish and she don't trust this. And I felt some kind of way, like, honey, you got 3 kids under the 3 grandkids. You don't know this man by now? Let it go. It just is what it is. Clearly you living the life and you enjoying what your daughter was able to produce or, I don't know, accumulate with her husband. Let's move on. I can tell you that Tariq is really motivated to get his mother out of lockup. So I'm glad they showed the recap, which is ultimately Tariq shot James St. Patrick. If you didn't see it last season, check it out, binge it. But Tariq shot his daddy. His mama was like, no. His daddy was like, this ain't something you can come back from. He was like, I'm hoping not, because I hate that you ever. And that's what it is. Tariq lays all the blame at Ghost's feet because he basically felt his family and his life imploded as soon as his daddy got with Angela. And I mean, that's what the whole basis was. James genuinely was trying to make a change, no longer wanted to be just a dope dealer. And Tasha wasn't transitioning with him and Angela gave him that out. Look at this. Grandma is asking Tariq, well, we got to bury your daddy. Whoop. That's when it really struck me like, oh, they didn't do no time jump. I'm like, how long he been dead? Because Tasha is some real orange, a real orange jumpsuit. At any rate, Yaz is what, maybe 8 or 9. She's old enough now to question Tariq, please come home. Tariq has decided he will not come home. He's going to stay in the dorms. He's trying to explain to grandma, like, yeah, this is what's best. I understand. I want to just hurry up and get back to y'all. But he doesn't explain to grandma, I have to finish college in order to get the money released in order to take care of the family. Again, Ghost was controlling folks from the dead, honey. Tasha got nothing. Everything was left to the kids, but Tariq could only touch it once he completed college. Not just went there, attended, got a few good grades. Tariq shows up at the college that, the hustler swindler got him into. Simon, that's his name. I called him Spencer earlier, excuse me. And he's late. So Simon wants to bring that up. I hate when people are passive aggressive about those things. Look, no disrespect. Sorry I'm late. Can we move forward? I think Tariq handles it well. He gets into the school. Now he's asking for the fast track program. Hey, if you know anything, even Alexander Hamilton pushed behind a fast track program. So if he goes through the chemicals, he'll get a 3-year. Basically, he'll finish his degree in 3 years. Boom. So now he has the money. Tasha's like, look, don't worry about me. I'm here. I think Tamika's place, y'all. Let me jump ahead. Gorgeous. The layout, the stairwell, the cases, the interior molding, the crown molding at the top, the baseboards molding at the bottom. Honey, at least 3-4 inches. I was like, oh, I don't know who place they using for location shoots, but this is the one. Now, don't get it twisted. That penthouse that the St. Patrick's had was nice, but they didn't own it. I feel like Tamika owns this. And Angela's little 1-bedroom condo, it was modest. She was still helping out at home with Paz and her nephew. So moving along, Tamika is no nonsense. I still enjoy that. Very direct and plain. And she's handling this case like a pro. They trained her well. She practiced very nicely. At the end of the day, it is all about removing and shifting whatever blame you could try and get on Tasha for the purpose of mitigating defense. This is all about a heinous criminal that you don't see behind closed doors. And the ADA was like, no, that's not flying because she did this and she planned that. So basically, the guy Tasha tried to use as a fall partner we all made fun of, he didn't just stay in the car. He went and got a drink from the corner store and had a receipt to prove where he was, and he was on video. His testimony is pushing back against Tasha. So that's why it just doesn't fit or fly with the courts, and it's not going to well. She is remanded and held with no bail. I feel like the Cat Williams joke. Oh, Lord, God, I got money now. I can pay you. I can tithe. My God, how can I get out if I'm here with no bail, God? You don't get your 10% if I'm locked up. And it's like a real conversation to have because she's been taunted by the U.S. Marshal, which is, girl, you ain't no battered wife. You either got to be laying next to the body or sitting there crying with the body. But hey, maybe the court abide. If they don't, you'll be back. I'll see you later tonight. When I tell y'all, that is one of the most disgusting things to me. When you lose freedom and go into DOC, even the local jail. Oh, the local jail is worse than state penitentiary. Because at least at some point with the state, your sentence, you got some freedom, you can roam. The local jail, you on they dictating time. Do you hear me? Up for count. Out your bed, standing up, whether you sleep or not. Like, I'm here. You see me, I see you. Lights ain't getting turned off. The food is worse. What else? Oh my God. In Wisconsin, you talk to initial attorneys. IA court, we have to have it for initial arraignments. Just anybody in rotation goes down from the PD's office or who's assigned. And we talk to individuals through an open hole that is no larger than maybe this iPad, but more slender. No one's had an opportunity to brush their teeth. So they're sitting and you're squatting on the other side taking notes and they're talking directly to you. Ooh, by the grace. You just hold it and you make do until you ultimately learn. Just bring some vapor rub, put it on your top lip, and you're good to go to get through the day. But I feel bad for Tasha. She is holding strong. She is being very motherly and making sure the kids ain't got to worry about me. Tariq is quickly thinking, though. He's like, look, I got to get my mama home. Tariq has 2 conundrums. At the college, they basically want to partner him with, I guess, the star black basketball player. If he don't play, Tariq ain't got no place in school. Wait, what now? See, this is where I would have got back with Simon. Like, yo, the understanding was you get me in, not have all these other contingencies and restrictions. You don't have to have truth, because he was willing to pay, full price, market X for truth. Tasha gave it to him on the strength of, you'll just get my child into this school. Y'all, she could have took, the payment and still get my child into the school. But hey, I guess they had to set it up for the struggle. That's what writers do. His old choke buddy was now going to be his roommate in college, and he's questioning why is he here. I'm glad Tariq shot down that social media stuff. Yes, I'm online myself, but I'm fairly new to what's been around since what, 06? YouTube's been around at least 14 years. So, and I'm also small. I'm like cheerleading. I have 43 subscribers at this moment. Tariq needs anonymity because he in a dope game. He always got some shady stuff going. And you got your mama on trial for murder of your father. Until that's resolved, a real substantiated conclusion, stay off social media. Anywho, I think it works out well that the basketball player Zeke, that's how we get introduced to Mary J. Blige. Mary J. Blige is about that life, living in Queens. I don't know. I forgot why Zeke said. Oh, yeah. Zeke got family locked up. I think his daddy and his mama. At any rate, he was staying with the aunt. The aunt sees the value in you're going somewhere in life. Her son, though, he's in the streets hard. Because originally I didn't get. So some girl was giving him head in the bathroom. Tariq couldn't use the restroom, came back out. Tariq meets Zeke's cousin, the girl cousin, and they hit it off. Like, you could tell they vibing. He explains, I saw him in the bathroom with the girl. Oh, they got her boyfriend there. They gonna try to get into it. And your dudes, I was like, oh, they gonna fight? So Zeke tries to break it up. Mary J. Blige comes out of nowhere like Mama Hen. And I heard she don't want to be called Auntie. I can respect that. But now she's really playing the role of Auntie. Yo, Mary J. I love you like a friend in my head. Girl, everybody gonna be calling you Auntie now. And you delivered. I loved you in Mudbound, but hey, I really can tell you, our people gonna be calling you Auntie, I guess, until you pass. Anyway, moving along, Zeke is sent into the house with, Lo, we got plans for you. You going somewhere. And your boy, his cousin, gets to scrapping with him. They send him on his way, knowing he's gonna come back with a gun. I'm like, wait, is this what they do in Queens or New York? Maybe I'm too Southern. What's going on here? I'm used to people already having a gun on them. And I get it. New York is not the place to carry a concealed weapon. It takes a lot to get the concealed weapon license. But yeah, we're a little more liberal about weapons in the South. Let's just leave it at that. Spike Lee covers it very well in When the Levees Broke. Just everybody has a gun. You just kind of get used to it. And I started hunting at 5. But anyway, moving along, he does come back with a gun. And he's like, he can't hide behind you. The boy talking to Mary J. Blige. He can't hide behind you the rest of his life. And the boy comes up. Like she said, he ain't hiding. He had a double-barrel shotgun. Okay. And it was a little too short, but it didn't look sawed off. So I was like, I'm impressed. In the city limits, the cops roll up. But you can tell, like, the cops are either on the pay or they have an understanding with this woman. Like, that's it. It's just a conversation and you move on. At any rate, I was confused when later on he kills him. He shoots him twice in the body, one in the head, walks off smiling. But then when Mary J. wiped off the blood once he got in the car, I was like, oh, I guess his mama sanctioned this and it had to happen. I guess they were trying to avoid him coming back to have a shootout. But, I guess those rules, trust me, rules are really out the door. I can tell you that for sure, especially in New Orleans post-Katrina, because a lot of old heads didn't come back. So those young ones is wilding. Anywho, and look, they get real time in Louisiana, and it still ain't stopping. Let me move on, because I can go on a rant about that. Time is real. We learned that Sax is a rich boy, and he makes so much sense. Y'all, I thought he was just a typical spoiled white boy at work. Like, Sax should be at a white shoe law firm and earnest layouts. Shout out to the daddy. He's from Billions. I love him in Billions. He is sedity, snooty, highbrow, but is not as rich as Bobby Axelrod. So back to Sax being with his sedity family. They all call him Nancy. They sure do. And they laughed about it. And they even tried to defend him through one sister identifying how, disrespectful it is to call him a Nancy, considering he identifies as cisgender heterosexual. His brother is his younger brother, like, yo, you need to come over here and be general counsel at the nonprofit. And he was like, I'm at the U.S. Attorney's office. For how long? Before you mess it up. I was like, oh. Sack's feelings are hurt. And he's like, yo, you're my younger brother. I don't need no job from you from now. I was like, oh, baby, we would have been, look, tussling in that living room. Some furniture would have got shifted that day, moved around, and mama would have been all right about it. I'm going to tell you that. Because it's like, yo, Sax has to be my age, if not older. So let's give him 37 to 45. He old. Now, him being in the Eastern District, he was already there. I kind of thought they would have been proud of it. Y'all, Sax has been in the AUSA for at least 5-6 years, getting on everybody's nerves. Like, normally everybody calls him a dick, but now, again, I get it. He's super entitled. He is super privileged, but he's choosing to chunk some of that to try and make it his own way. He just doesn't have the proper social skills. So in all of this, we learn Sax has done the work. Tasha has fired Keisha. Is it Keisha? Child, I can't remember right now. I'm thinking about Tamika. I was thinking about Lala. But anyway, when Tasha shot that girl, Tasha gets the best offer ever. Essentially, Tamika's able to wrangle up 4 years of probation, maybe 3, if she just, admits everything, but she has to give up the shooter because they've now identified she was not the shooter. She lied about it. And the ADA comes in with paperwork saying, look, the shooter was, and I'm jumping ahead, but the shooter was basically 5'11" to 6'2". That ain't Tasha. Look, I'm 5'4.5", and I know Naturi has to be like, 5'2", 5'3"? I don't know. But at any rate, she fires Tamika because Tamika's pushing, but Tamika can sense. Look, I'm the slowest, dim-witted street person. I ain't got no street sense. But I know this much. If you hiding like this hard with me as counsel, somebody you love, you are protecting. And usually the people they're protecting, kids, spouse, something like that, parent, that's it. So yeah, she's figured it out. But Tamika ain't ready to give up her license. Suborning perjury is a real big deal. People who are super petty will keep up with whatever information they can to be able to prove you as an attorney knew something and withheld it from the court. So yeah, you can admit to your counsel, look, this ain't legal advice and I'm not your representation. But you can tell them you murdered so-and-so. Y'all got privilege. But when it comes down to, which is what Tamika wants to be able to explain, you tell me your son did it. I don't represent your son. I'm throw it out there. Now that's doing the most. You literally are the quarterback who takes audibles from the client. So you do what the client says. The client say, this ain't it, that ain't it. So Tamika got fired on the spot. Tamika then calls your boy, Tariq, lets him know this is what's going on. It was a great deal on the table. She rejected it. Basically, I think she was hoping Tariq would say, well, I did it. Because then that way it didn't come from her client. It came straight from an outside source who then has to be able to verify he did something. Or at a minimum, who cares if she could verify it or not? She could at least prove Tasha didn't do it. So back to, like everybody asked, which ultimately they show a public defender. Tasha called home. Grandma ain't trying to get Tariq no privacy. He's trying to go through her daycare records for what? I don't know. I thought he was looking for drugs. But ultimately we learned he's trying to find Epiphany contact information. I'm glad he found it. I like whenever she makes a presence. I really do. Like, Epiphany brings the show down, not in a negative sense, but knocks it down a peg or two back to reality, which is, I'm late picking up my baby, but I'll hook you up. I got you. And I like that in her. Because it's true. Sometimes you just be late picking up the kids and you have to pay that late fee. Like, whatever. It's those places that charge $5 a minute in New Orleans that makes you want to cry. Versus places that charge $1 a minute. Or, it is what it is. But for what it's worth, Sax is a rich boy who's stuck in his ways. Tamika has been fired. Epiphany is back in the scene. And Tariq needs to sell dope through her in order to what? Get his mom an attorney who is what? The rapper? Yeah. In the thumbnail, y'all. I ain't even got time for Method Man and other names right now. Redman. I love them together because of one thing. But at the end of the day, he did a good job delivering the lines, portraying the character. He was like, look, $500,000 cash, I can represent you. Without it, don't talk about it. So Tariq is determined to get that money to have his mother represented. Tariq tries to go over the book that was assigned to him less than 24 hours ahead so he can get into this fast track program, get out in 3 years. He has 2 faculty members that's defending him against one. They decide, since he didn't finish the book and he openly admitted it, they'll go ahead and give him another day to go ahead and get this told. Tariq is still ripping and running. He is really running. Like, at some point, it's like, baby, breathe. Anywho, and I think I was kind of jealous. Like, oh, I wish I had knees like that right now. But anywho, Tariq moving on, trying to get this $500,000 to get Method Man to represent his mother. He's a criminal defense attorney that Tamika must have recommended, but they didn't provide this. She was like, you got to be okay with someone who's okay with not having the full truth. It kind of bothered me because as a government attorney, Tamika was willing to, usurp a few rules and step over some lines. Come on now. Now all of a sudden you in private defense and you nervous. Now don't get it twisted. This is a high profile case. So she has every right to be kind of nervous. But I'm glad Sachs got Tamika to the table. I'm glad Sachs worked behind the scenes to keep his name out of things. Like Tariq said, I'm going to tell people I saw you there. At any rate, Tasha's met with a public defender. The way they portray it, everyone portrays public defenders are overworked, usually tacky in terms of dress. I made it my business to be just the opposite. Even then I was thinner, so it didn't matter. But fouls everywhere, disheveled, disgusting. To me, that was disgusting. And I know to other people it's a turnoff. Like, you're not as polished or professional as not just Tamika, but even the most basic attorney. But yeah, public defender's office are overworked. The end. But she's also Dana, who's eager to kiss the butt of the ADA. Those I don't like under no circumstances. Look here, I understand I may not have the most diplomatic air when I'm handling the case, but what you know is I got your back. That's just it. Guilty, kind of guilty, should be guilty. Whatever it is, the goal is to get the client the best possible outcome. That's it. If you're going home, that's going home. And I tell people real quick, look, you better come up really fast because I'm not the one who got to do the time. So it's on you to decide, are you going to take this plea or not? Do you want this plea? And, you'll meet enough criminals over time or convicts to be, let me say it like that, because, hey, cons will let you know, hey, I'm not supposed to get 5 years. It's supposed to be 3 years with 5 on paper. And once you start to learn the process and the system and you get, oh, they really get this, ain't nothing to talk about. Now, when Tasha gets waived into federal court, that's different. They have a matrix. There's a mandatory minimum based on what the crime, the charge is, and what the conviction is. The end. The PSI, the pre-sentence reports, that's what matters. So if you're able to get it, with a good investigator through your attorney, like, yeah, my husband was beating me. My husband was a brute at home. Y'all don't know what it was behind closed doors. Conversely, right now, you got the DNC working, pushing the U.S. Attorney's Office of the Eastern District to make this a RICO stage and give Tasha a kingpin charge. And that's still where, New York comes out with the death penalty. Look, I know it can be shocking to people. I'm from a place where the death penalty is it's always there. What are you talking about? But it offended me. Why are you trying to railroad her to help cover up your transgressions as the DNC because you want to protect James St. Patrick in principle because he could taint the whole party? That's your fault. But child, look here, excuse me scooting up, but I done got into this conversation to say it don't surprise me, but it hurts to hear. Simple as that. Sachs says no, and I'm really grateful he did. And I forgot the Asian guy's name. So the head of the office for Eastern District or over that division, I'll look it up really quickly. He's super cute. It's like, yeah, you need to get with this Sachs. You owe me a favor. You need to remember who got you back into this job. Back to Power. The cinematography is still great. The soundtrack really works for the episode, so I'm excited about that. The legal research is still on point. It's not just accurate. It's accurate and correct. Those are two different things. I'm perplexed. Aunt Mary J is Monet. If you got some ideas on where you see this going for the year, let me know. But at the end of the day, it is something to see, an all-black cast showing back up, doing really good job delivering the lines. The background is a third character in every scene. The courthouse is a fourth character. Enough times to see it. Tasha gets the state charges dropped, basically, when she finally goes in admitting, okay, I'll take the plea, because Tariq has basically told her, you need to do it. And he told her in a coded way through her attorney, which is, if you really love me, you'll take that plea. That gives her 3 years on probation, but she's home. The state, as they're in court delivering this, the DNC is there with the Eastern District and the FBI is present, and of course, federal authority to lock Tasha up. Because guess what? It comes out to, well, who shot James? She's like, oh, Tommy Egan. Why? They were best friends for 30 years and blah, blah, blah. Because I told him to. Bam. There go your RICO, meaning the conspiracy is in effect. But y'all, you can't. Even the conspiracy plea that they offered the girl at the state level was offensive. 15 years for conspiracy? Ooh, you do better doing wire fraud, meaning sending money back and forth for using somebody else's account in the wrong way. And people walk into that all the time, just, unassumingly when you transfer money between each other. And thank God for Zelle and Quick Cash and other places like in Cash App or things like that now. So it's less of an issue. But all in all, because I'm at 30 and I'm not trying to make this longer than it has to be, it's worthwhile. I think it's just like when Ghost Power started. The first 3 episodes were slower and to build to the story. And I couldn't get into it until like the 5th episode, but I kept hanging on. And it, bam, picked up and took off the gate. This, for now, is, bam, out the gate, moving fast. The pace is great. It's easy to follow. It's logical. It's the questions I have. Would you do the time for Tariq? That's your child. Yaz is at home, too. Do you make that call? Do you let Tariq go ahead and finish school so he can get the money? Do you fight back against the notion of Tariq trying to slang anything, even if it's pills? Like, is it worth it? Did y'all see that girl setting up Tariq from Power, now coming back into the story? She had a good, plausible explanation, which is it wasn't personal. It was just business. But so he took her pills and was like, yeah, it ain't personal. It's just business. She liked it to some, like she took it on the chin and smiled about it. Like, you know what? You could tell she really likes him. But at this point, Tariq gonna have 3 possible love interests. That makes sense. Freshman in college, young, handsome kids, whatever. Dealing with kids over here not going into the dormitory because of coronavirus. Mary J. Blige being the new queen pin in so many ways, and how does he get linked up with that family and selling and pushing through them to push back? So drop down in the comments if you can, if you got some ideas. I love to hear. I may be in the industry, but I don't sleep, breathe, and think, let's break the law. So I like this, and this is why I never like those Law and Orders. It's just too fake. That's not Power. For the legal precedents, they do a good job in executing what the procedures are, what the policies are expected to be, and being able to be smart enough to how to work around it and have a plan for that. So at least Method Man's locked in. He's going to represent the family. And like Tariq told him, you get my mama off, you're going to be the biggest criminal defense attorney in New York. Y'all, it ain't just a state. You get her off for that, your name gonna ring like Ben Crump names ring, or Johnny Cochran. Your name rings for the right cases. It just, what gets the publicity. And this case is gonna get the publicity. I was kind of shocked that like Method Man couldn't see it, but I guess they played that out for us to see it at home as the viewers. So have a great week.